Baylor's new top transfer portal target is taking a visit to Arkansas this weekend. So if the Bears missed out, well, we'll see. Welcome to Locked On Baylor.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Baylor. I am your host, Cam Stewart of ESPN Central Texas. Thank you for making it your first listen today and every day. We've got somewhat of a transfer portal development for you. Now that Baylor has gotten Jeremy Roach to commit, that was probably quickly became their top transfer portal target. But outside of that, it was kind of 1 and 1A. And the 1A, if he wasn't number one, was Jonas Aidoo from Tennessee, the center. Obviously a big position of need for the Bears. And he visited Waco over the weekend. Haven't heard anything on the front of him coming to Baylor, but we did hear on Tuesday night that he will be making a visit to Fayetteville, Arkansas this weekend to talk with the great John Calipari. JC Hoops, Jackson Collier was the first one to report this that I could see, and that would be that he got it from a source that Tennessee transfer Jonas Aidoo will be visiting Fayetteville over the weekend. And that has gotten the Hogs Nation big time fired up, as it should. I think Aidoo is a terrific player, definitely one of the top 10 in the transfer portal for sure. Now, where does it leave Baylor? Well, Baylor, where it leaves Baylor is still in a need for him, whether he commits to Arkansas or otherwise. Until he is committed to Baylor, it is still the biggest need on the team. And Aidoo is a fantastic modern 2024 center. He's not exactly like a post-up guy, but can obviously score in the post, average double figures, averaged 11 and 7 as an all-SEC performer under Rick Barnes at Tennessee, and plays in a quick, fast style of offense that I'm sure the Arkansas fans are actually quite familiar with, watching Tennessee in the SEC. But he is a rim runner. He's a guy who can play above the rim, but still pretty gritty to bring down 7 rebounds a game in the SEC. He's someone who I think can be a double-double machine in the right circumstances. And that is not something that's easy to do at this high a level. And clearly it's someone that John Calipari has his eyes on. And it would be a massive pickup for Arkansas, obviously, as a team that is trying to rebuild kind of out of the ashes, but with one of the best coaches in college basketball in which to do that, a legitimate Hall of Famer in John Calipari. He absolutely brings a scoring touch, a lot of athleticism, and I think a little underrated grit to a team. I know Tennessee fans think that they could have seen a little bit more in the grit department, but I think every fan base will tell you that about their big man. And if they are saying he's bringing enough grit, it probably means that he doesn't score. So I think that's a pretty common theme from most fan bases. But in terms of what it means for Baylor, again, this is a big need for them. I love Josh Ojamuna. I do. I don't know that he's a 25 to 30 minute a night kind of guy. He was about a 20-minute guy. Actually a little bit less this year. I'd have to look up the exact numbers, but Yves Missi played less than 30 minutes a game. And they were never on the floor at the same time, obviously. So I think having him as kind of your backup role is an ideal place to be when it's behind someone like an Yves Missi or like a Jonas Aidoo, or, a bit of a long shot, but even someone like a Cliff Amori, who you guys know is someone I love, but probably trending towards Nate Oates at Alabama at this point. But the big thing on these is you do want to be last when it comes to transfer portal visits, because most of the time it's like when you say, "Oh, I found my car keys or my wallet. It was in the last place I looked." Like, no crap, man. Why would you keep looking? You know what I mean? And that is most transfer portal guys. They commit after their best visit and they cancel the other ones. We see it every year. So the fact that he didn't cancel any other visits past Baylor and didn't commit the Monday after he visited, it's not fatal. It's obviously ideal place that you want to be, but it isn't fatal. So obviously, yeah, you would want that to be his last visit. We would have loved to have heard by now on Tuesday that he is committed to Baylor, but he is one of the top guys in the transfer portal. Like Baylor was not and is not his only option. Now, I will say, as of recording this on Tuesday night, there hasn't been any change to the crystal balls for Jonas Aidoo, whether it be through 247 or on 3. 247 still had all 3 of their guys pointing him towards Baylor. And those are typically pretty spot on. I know nothing's 100% in this age of the transfer portal and the NIL, but those are pretty spot on. Now the NIL thing is where I do start to worry. Not as much as I would in other sports, but because Baylor basketball has been pretty on top of NIL and making sure their guys are taken care of. But Arkansas will throw the world at you now. Jerry Jones will be writing you personal checks now. Sam Walton, all of them. The guy from Tyson Chicken Nuggets. They will be throwing you the bag. And John Calipari will make sure of it. By the way, this is a heavyweight matchup. These are 2 of the very best recruiters in college basketball in Scott Drew going back 20 years and John Calipari going back 35 years. These are 2 of the very, very best. Both, I think, Hall of Fame coaches, both national champions, and really do their best work on the recruiting trail. So this is one that Baylor fans will probably sweat it out. Like I've put it up in the rundown. I think it's a saga at this point. There's nothing to say that he's out on Baylor by any means, but whenever it is John Calipari involved, I think a pretty darn good program in Arkansas involved, and the money that Arkansas has involved, that is big. And I wonder how much this Jeremy Roach price tag factors into this. Now, these are all rumors and speculation that Roach, it cost $1.5 million in NIL. I don't know. I don't know what to believe. Baylor could pay that for sure. I from what I've heard and the people I know in there, they can absolutely set that up. But I have heard some rumblings from people who are in the know of that situation that is not an accurate number, that is too high a number. And so I say that to think, what if Jonas Aidoo didn't have that kind of information and is like, you're giving me Jeremy Roach $1.5 million when you already got a really highly touted point guard coming in. You need me. There ain't no highly touted center coming in, so why don't I get 2? I don't know, but it absolutely could be a thought process for someone with plenty of suitors in the transfer portal. And if that's the case, again, not that Baylor can't pony up good cash, but it's never going to be as good as Arkansas. And with how desperate they are to build their team up again and be a contender pretty soon here, they will obviously offer a lot of money. So this is the price of paying, the price to pay in college basketball when you are in for some of the best players in the country. It ain't easy to bring in 2 of the top 15 transfer portal recruits. Baylor's already brought 1 in Jeremy Roach, and Jonas Aidoo would be just another feather in their cap, would be probably the missing piece to having one of the best starting 5s, most talented starting 5s, albeit inexperienced in a lot of ways in college basketball. So, and VJ Edgecombe is the guy I'm talking about in that. And of course, these guys haven't played together very much. So something to keep an eye out on, whether John Calipari can work that magic yet again and bring in who is probably the top center in the transfer portal. But stick right here with it. We'll have all the news for you here on Locked On Baylor. You can follow us here on YouTube. You can ring the bell for notifications anytime we drop a video, but liking and subscribing will certainly help. Getting involved in the comments to let me know what you think helps exponentially, and we will have it for you 5 days a week. Thank you for making it your first listen today and every day. This has been Locked On Baylor. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. We really appreciate that. And if you want to keep up to date on all the Baylor sports news, be sure to give us a like and ring the notification bell, because we are your first listen today and every day. We are your exclusive home for nothing but Baylor sports content 5 days a week that's not coming straight from the university. Be sure to follow us here on YouTube and also wherever you get your podcasts, and on Twitter as well at Locked On Baylor. Thanks so much again. Have a good one, and sick 'em.